All our shiurim are based on this system, right? The system that we laid out in the first class. If you don't know it, go back to the meaning of life and, go through all the sections of meaning of life. Everything will be explained over there. We said that everything that we do, we're connecting the upper channels, right, to draw down light. That's what the meaning of L'Shem Yechud, Kucha Berichu, V'Shchintei. Right, the Kucha Berichu is the 6 lower channels connected, and Shchintei is the 7th channel, and you're connecting it in everything that you do. Okay, that's the purpose of our existence, and for that, every time we do that, more and more of God is revealed in the world. People start to believe in God, they start to come close to God, and every time we don't do that, conversely the opposite. For that work, we're going to go to the next world and get everlasting pleasure, the pleasure that we can't even imagine. If you took all the pleasure of this world and you put it into 1 minute, it will kind of be like what it's going to be over there, if you can imagine that. Okay? So that's the purpose of my life, your life, everybody else's life in the world. Nobody has a different purpose. This is what they came to the earth to do. Okay? Recently, there's a few topics we're going to try to touch on. One of them I had planned on already, and 2 others was asked to speak about. The first one is when you see people who are labeled as religious doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Okay? The second one is, I guess, the Holocaust, anti-Semitism, and the last one is the relationship between man and wife and their children. Okay? So we're going to try to touch on these topics today. Hopefully we have enough time. Okay? So, as we laid out before in the previous, classes, everything comes down from God. God is, we call him the Ein Sof. Everything starts and ends with him. Ein Sof means without end. That means he's everywhere at every single time. That means everything that happens in the world has to be through his will. He's called the will of all wills. Ratzon HaRetzonot. Ilat HaIlot V'Sibat HaSibot. He's the will of all wills. Okay? Because he's in everything. He permeates every single thing we see. The air, our bodies, our clothes. Everything is permeated with him. Leit atar panui minei. There's no place that's empty of him. Okay? So that means everything that happens in creation is him making it happen in creation. Okay? But our perspective is very limited. I only see me. I don't see in your heads. You don't see in mine. We only see in front of us. We can't see in back of us. Okay? Our vision is limited. Our sound's limited. We are limited beings. We can only see a piece of the puzzle, and a very, very limited piece. We can't see the whole puzzle at once. Okay? So we're definitely going to get the wrong view of things. So the start of everything. Please shut off your phones. Okay. The start of everything is that God wills everything into existence and makes everything exist at every single moment. That means
you have a fight with a husband, he wanted it to happen?
Exactly. Everything that happened and everything that's going to happen for the 6,000 years is because he wanted it to happen. Now, you got to make a distinction between he wanted it to happen and he commanded us. 2 different things. Everything that happens from the beginning of history to the end of history is what he wanted. Okay? But he commanded certain things. Okay? So he commanded don't kill. Okay? But if a person needs to be killed because he did some other transgression, so he'll send one person to kill the other. Okay? Even though there was a commandment not to kill.
But he knew that this person was going to be killed?
Of course. It's not about knowledge. It's about he did it. Okay? Forget knowledge of knowing the future, knowing back. He does every single thing. That's why we have a commandment to bless on every single thing. We bless on the good as we bless on the bad. Right? Baruch Dayan Emet. Right? Blessed is the judge of truth. Why do we say is the judge of truth? Because what happened is truth.
So when somebody passes away, there's no accident. It's not an accident. No matter, there's nothing you could have done to.
There are absolutely no accidents in the world. Everything is exactly as planned. And if you think about it, it's the most comforting thing in the world.
Exactly. There's no like, oh, if I didn't travel.
Exactly.
No.
If
That's
you stayed
disbelief.
here, if you didn't go.
This wouldn't have happened.
That's
No.
total
It's all-
disbelief, okay? There are things that happen to a person immediately and things that happen to him for a long series of things, okay? If I go out in the street and I buy a lottery ticket, I won, that happened to me immediately, okay? I got it. But let's say, for instance, you know, I had a dog and the dog fell into a pit and broke his leg. I'm like, oh man, he broke his leg. So I go pick up the dog and inside I see a treasure. Okay? The dog was something bad for me. I gotta go take him to the hospital.
Yeah.
But because the dog
Yeah.
fell on that, I had to go get the treasure. Okay? We don't see the full picture of things, but God works in the full picture of things. We see the limited view of things. So we think, oh, if my dog didn't break it, I wouldn't have found the treasure. And if we, right? We go crazy like that. And what's going to happen in the future if I don't get a college education, if I don't get work here,
this is
and if
all
I don't do
planned
that there? Of course not. If we think about it, and now we're going to get to the Germany thing, think about it. There were rich Jews in Germany, very wealthy people, doctors, lawyers. They built careers, they did everything, and in 1 second, boom, it's all gone. Okay? And even before that, people don't realize World War I, after Germany lost, people were rich. Their money was worthless. There's pictures of people like cleaning the streets with their currency because the money was worthless. You need 1 million or whatever marks, Joyce marks, to buy a loaf of bread. It became worthless. So the rich is just like the poor. People don't realize this stuff, right? They start worrying. They start, what's going to be tomorrow? What's going to be the future? They drive themselves mad.
So if you let your kids cross the street, like you shouldn't worry.
No. You
Like
shouldn't.
that's it's something like that.
Yeah,
like
you
you
should.
you know, if is it something we should
No.
protect and avoid, or
Okay, so there's certain things that you live your life. You live your life like you know how to live your life, right? Crossing the street in a dangerous place is dangerous, right? Crossing the street in Bnei Brak on Shabbat, right, is not dangerous. There's no cars, there's no nothing, right? It all depends on the situation. So you plan for the situation that you know is going to be. If something went out of it, it's out of your control. Right? You could have planned all the way and then poof, it's gone.
so being a constant worrier as a mother, as a parent about the kids, and you know, did they get there? They're gonna, it's worthless.
Just disbelief. It's total
It's a
disbelief.
waste of time
Total waste of time.
and waste of energy and waste of
Total
sleep.
waste of
lack
energy.
זה מה שאנחנו ככה, אנחנו ככה.
How do you?
How you deal with
הרבה
it?
עבודה.
I mean, I'm
You have
glad
to
to hear
implant
that.
it,
It makes
yeah.
me, you know, I
Right.
think about it a lot.
So the best way to build this emunah is to sit there and think. Not just you know it. You gotta you gotta know it today and bring it into your heart. Meaning you really gotta feel it and know it and believe it. Right? It's not just enough to know it, you really gotta believe it and live it. What are you living? That there's only him.
Yeah.
And no one can hurt you and no one can do you any good if he doesn't want it to happen. No one could do your kids any good. No one could do your kids any bad if he doesn't want it to happen. Okay? So you worrying about it is not going to do anything about it. Okay? Now you could take certain actions that you know the way the world works, right? If I press this button, the text is going to go, right? But you don't know if it's going to go. It could be stuck. It could
Yeah.
anything could happen. It wasn't delivered. A message failure, right? But you did what you did to send the text. If God wanted the text to go, it would go. The story of a man in Israel, he was dying and people sent out texts. They sent out texts to all their friends. Some friends had phones that couldn't get texts. The service was disabled. On that day they got texts. And they told the person that sent the text, they said, how did it get through? I don't have that capability on my phone.
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay? And I know the person person.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But, I know.
So
Some things are.
So right, so these things that we think are in our control, if you really, really think about it, nothing is in our control. Even our will is not in our
So
control.
that's what I'm saying. When you say you have free will, so what does that mean? We have free will.
Don't get into it.
So it's not. We should not think because.
It doesn't matter. You came here, right? Right? You came here. You said, okay, I'm
I
gonna.
could have not come. Was that my free will or that was
No.
Hashem wanted me to be here?
Exactly. You
It's
put in
not-
your head, I got to put my shoes on. Oh man, this is hard.
No,
Okay, I got to drive. Okay, fine. Should I go back
You
and
beat
forth?
your Yetzirah.
Should I not? Should
That's
I
what I
not?
want to know. Is it like something like
Yes, I mean that's
I
what
could
you're
have
doing.
stayed?
You personally are living in the moment. You're not living outside of the moment. So for you, you have the feeling, I can sit at home. I can go. Your evil inclination
But I
says
would
sit
feel-
at home.
I said I'm gonna
You-
regret. I'm gonna feel bad.
your
if I
good
don't go.
inclination said go, right? And you felt that struggle. But God said she's going to go.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm feeling
Right.
that.
You're
But God is
feeling-
relaxed. He knows.
You're feeling the choices. Not that he knows. He made you come. Just like he's making the cells of my fingernail right now. Okay? He's making them right now. People don't think this. They think he made, like I made this table and he stepped away. There's us, there's this table, and me. You don't understand how God works. It says, Humamtzi kol ma shenimtza. He is creating everything that is in existence. That means he's creating this right now. If he wasn't creating it, it would disappear.
So we shouldn't complain about the people that invented all these things.
You shouldn't complain about anything. There's no room
It's
to
true,
complain. No, it's not just that. It's just
I know,
everything.
It's just example.
He's making my cells right now. He's making my fingers. He's making my shirt. He's making me speak. He's making every single thing at every single second. Either you believe this, and it's a central pillar in Judaism. Okay? The Rambam says, this is the Yesod HaYesodot של כל התורה. לידע שיש שם מצוי ראשון. To know that there was a first being. This is the foundation of Torah and all of wisdom. To know there's a first being. שהמציא וממציא כל מה שנמצא. That he created and is creating everything that's is in existence at every single moment. So is he creating the gun?
Yeah.
Is he creating the bullet that gets shot out of the gun? Is he creating it as it flies through the air and hits the person? Is he creating it as it, oh, it just missed his heart and it went through his shoulder? Is he creating that? Is he creating the blood that came out? Is he creating the pain for the person? If you understand the Torah, he's creating every single thing at every single second.
Also, the amount of kids we have.
Every single thing
Also-
at every single second.
So when it says, you're supposed to have a boy and a girl, what if you don't have? You only have girls or you only have boys? So, but in the Torah it says you're supposed to have. You don't accomplish the mitzvah if you don't have both.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Like you're supposed to.
Keep
You understand?
trying.
Like no, really.
Keep
But
trying.
if you stop, it doesn't mean that. I mean, Hashem wanted that. You understand?
You know, it could be.
Everything that ever
I don't know,
happened.
it's
If I-
a generation. I'm sure
Guys,
that
guys, listen. It's very simple.
Yeah, but it's so.
It's very simple. Forget the
complicated.
commandments. What you asked about was the commandment. The commandment of procreating. A man has to have a boy and a girl. I was going to get to it today. A person is supposed to have a boy and a girl, and those boy and a girl have to have a boy and a girl. Okay? So now, that's the commandment. Okay? But what if God wants you to have that, he'll make you have
Because
it.
how about there's
And if he
prayers,
doesn't,
there's
if
this,
he
you have
doesn't
to do
want
that.
you to have it, you're not going to have it. It doesn't matter. You
So-
could try from here till tomorrow till you're blue in the face.
Okay, so this is what I want to hear. I don't want to hear that, yeah, if you do that, there's this, the segula for this, the segula. Is that,
All the segulot, I'm glad this is on tape, all the segulot are crazy. Stay away from the segulot. Okay? Segulot, in Judaism, there's this, it's become common practice for people to do certain things in order to
get
get certain things. Okay? They tell them to do some holy things and you'll receive something. I always tell people who say these things, I say, okay, fine. Give me a timeline, okay? And tell me what I need to do. And at the end of that timeline, I'm going to see if I got what I wanted or I didn't get what I wanted. Because anybody could throw something out and say, oh, if you do this for 40 days,
Yeah.
you'll find something. Okay, tell me when.
Somebody told me
If
to.
I find it after 50 days, did it work? If I find it after 100, did it work? If I found it after a year, did it work?
Uh-huh.
If I found it after 2 years, did it work? So on and so forth, and you keep going that way. Okay? They don't tell you that. They just tell you, do this, this is
Exactly.
good for
It
that. Do this is good for that.
It could take years, it could take...
God doesn't operate that way. Okay? Obviously, when you do these holy things, you connect the channels. You're connecting the channels, and there's a chance that you could get those things that
But
you
it
want.
could be you giving it to somebody else.
Exactly. It could be you giving it to your friends,
kids.
to your kids. Right. It doesn't have to definitely get what you wanted. But you did connect the channels.
Because it's stressful to feel like if you don't... I mean, for people that want, boy and girl,
Yeah,
for some-
obviously, everybody wants to do the commandments. People who know God.
Yeah, but if
they
it
wanna
doesn't
do-
happen, you're not gonna...
They want to draw themselves towards God, right? They want to do what He commanded, so they try. Okay? But the result is not up to them.
Exactly.
They can try, but the result's not up to them. Not to stress about the results, to worry about the results. It's crazy. It's to not believe in God.
Exactly. Well, this is it. It's like...
Okay? So this is part of the whole thing. So getting
Okay.
back to not believing in God. So when we say like the rise of anti-Semitism, the rise of, Nazi Germany, the Holocaust, all that stuff, and people are going to get mad at this, but if you really boil it down, you really check the sources in the books, you'll see what I'm saying is true. At the end of the day, God commanded in His Torah to keep the mitzvahs. To keep the mitzvot. If you keep the mitzvot, He will give good. If you don't keep the mitzvot, He will bring bad. Okay? And bad, He outlines exactly what He's going to bring as bad. And there's 98 different things, different curses in the Torah that says what's going to happen if a person does bad. There's also blessing that's going to happen if a person does good. Okay? So these things are built in the system. Okay? Now, there's another thing that's built in the system is that all of Israel are guarantors for each other. We're one big team.
Right.
Community.
We're one big team. What happens when in a team when someone drops the ball? The whole team loses.
Right.
Okay? It's a team. It's a team game. It's a team effort. So Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, are one team. If one person doesn't keep Shabbat, everybody suffers. Conversely, everybody keeps Shabbat and that person doesn't, he gets their merit. Okay, so he could succeed in business. He's not keeping any mitzvahs, and he's doing great. Everything's going wonderful for him. He doesn't realize it's not his merit; it's theirs.
But why does he get it?
That's not
that's
part
that's
of
what
the
he
part of the
wants.
plan. That's part of his plan. Okay, but we're all one unit. We're all connected. Okay, so when God decrees like on the whole people that they're going to suffer, okay, because of their sins, everybody gets it. And you have natural tragedies, like the Holocaust, like the destruction of the temple. People don't talk about the destruction of the temple. Millions of people died then too. Okay? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Hundreds of thousands women were raped. It was disgusting what happened. Okay? Nobody talks about it because it's not recency bias. We have recency bias. Oh, this happened 60 years ago, 70 years ago. Next thing that's going to happen, we're going to forget the Holocaust and we're going to think about the new thing. That's just the way human nature works. Okay? But at the end of the day, if God is doing every single thing, everything is just. Everything is perfect. The Nazis didn't do anything. The Nazis were just a tool. People doing anti-Semitic acts right now are just tools. They're not anything that God doesn't want to happen.
Yeah.
And if you think like that, you're not afraid of anything. And if you think that your life is a gift, you weren't even... Who said you were supposed to live? So what are you worried if you're going to die? What are you worried if someone's going to hurt you? What are you worried about? Your life is a gift. Every single moment is a gift. Every single moment is a gift. So what are you worried about exactly? Does God control the whole world or doesn't he
Our
control
kids.
the whole world?
That's
It doesn't matter. You see, you don't believe in God. If you're worried about anything, you don't believe in God. That's just the way it is, okay?
No, it's hard.
It's
hard.
very hard to
Listen.
implant it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
What do you think? It says, שיוויתי השם לנגדי תמיד, זה כלל גדול בתורה.
מה זה אומר?
To put God in front of you at every single second,
Okay.
to put God in front of you every single second is a big general principle in Torah. Okay? And it's Ma'alat Tzadikim. This is what the Tzadikim do all the time. God is constantly in front of them. They're constantly